This is Legacy Matthew Priest from BCWA, and you are listening to the FTW Podcast.
Harrison and Rob, Kevin and Joe, talking about the wrestlers that you know. FTW Podcast, FTW Podcast, FTW Podcast.
Alright, let's go jump. Hang on a second. What the hell? Okay, alright. So, Joe just texted me. He's asking, since he got cum in his girlfriend's hair once a few weeks ago, is it weird that now she's donating it to Locks of Love? It kind of turns him on. The hell?
That's totally a Joe text right there.
He must be drunk.
Was it accompanied by some form of porn?
I thought that would play better than it did. I wanted to play a prank with Joe being gone. I thought, oh, come my girlfriend's hair, and now she's donating it to charity, and turns him on. I thought that would play better. But I guess what's really telling about this is the fact that I told that, and everybody bought that Joe might have actually said that.
Your joke was too successful, Harrison.
Alright, we keep shuffling. Welcome to the FTW Podcast, the wrestling world in all its laughable glory. My name is Harrison, and with me as always is Joe. No way, he is not here with us this week. 96 episodes, and we finally got his fat ass off this show. Can you believe that, slacker? Breaking his record 4 episodes short of 100? I can't believe it. Anyway, today we got Rob. Say hello, Rob.
Hey.
Kevin. Say hello, Kevin.
What's up?
And live from the Limp Podcast, Scott. Say hello, Scott.
Excellent, Smithers.
And thank you for that. Carmen's man on the board. Alright, tonight is episode 96 and was recorded on January 10th, 2012. And you know what? Let's just get right into Impact. Rob, what was the standout moment for you when it comes to Impact?
Well, the moment of the night for me, I thought was the tag team match, Jesse Sorensen and Zema Ion versus Austin Aries and Kid Cash.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse Sorensen is a guy who, I hadn't really heard of in the indies before coming to TNA. He's really one of those people who really does seem to come out of nowhere. He put on a phenomenal match. I was a big fan of this kid by the time the match was over. He really hung in there with guys like Austin Aries and Kid Cash, and it's very, very, it was very good to see, very promising to see TNA sort of developing their young talent like that.
Cool. Alright. If you had to say what was the worst thing that happened Thursday?
I know Kevin and I are competing for who's the biggest Mickie James fan, but for fuck's sake, man, every time she does the Thez press off the top rope or off the top of something, she can't land without hurting herself.
Yeah, she needs to cut that shit out.
I'd have to say that was kind of the low point, seeing Madison. Seeing the knockout tag team title match, you knew the titles weren't going to change hands. It was kind of just blah. And then, Mickie James again spoiling her move.
Mickie, unless you're Thez pressing yourself on top of me, stop it. It's the only reason you get away from it from now on.
Alright. What about the main event? Rude, Ray, Angle versus Abyss, Hardy, and Storm, and it ending in a no contest.
I actually kind of like that, because, usually we bitch and moan about how matches like this give away what's going to happen at the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
This main event actually seemed to build anticipation for the pay-per-view. Garvin and I were kind of talking about this with Chill Mascaris on the pre-show. We really wish that TNA could do a better job of pushing their pay-per-views up until the point, rather than waiting until, the show right before. If they did the main event, having them just break down and go into a brawl and everything, it really pushed forward what was going on. It made me more interested to see the 3 matches that were represented in it, and we avoided kind of like the spoiler by, okay, well, Rude, Bully Ray, and Angle won, so we know Abyss, Hardy, and or Storm are going to win at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was solid. It was solid. Okay, so as far as the go-home show before Genesis, I mean, how do you think it fared?
I mean, I think it did all right. I mean, obviously all of the matches were matches in one way, shape, or form we would see on the pay-per-view, or trying to push matches that we would see on the pay-per-view. But I think Impact kept up their trend and did a pretty good job of pushing their pay-per-view. Like I said, my main event would my main complaint with the show would be start doing a better job advertising and pushing the pay-per-view rather than waiting until like the last show.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Probably would be a good business move, I'd imagine. Might help those pay-per-view buy rates a little bit. Yeah, it's like, hey, just a heads up, few weeks from now, just gotta check your local listings.
And it's like we pointed out in the pre-show, TNA started as a pay-per-view organization.
Yeah.
Weekly pay-per-views. They were founded on this. They were founded by, they've got people who know what they were, who know how to do this. Jeff Jarrett, Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff. These guys know or should know how to market.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, is you say a point like that, and then you just kind of have to let the silence speak for you. Because, it's just one of those things where it's like, they should know. And there's no real way to get around the fact that they should know. So, alright. Cool. Alright, so let's bounce over to Superstars. Garvin, why don't you give us the rundown of the show that the IWC should love, but for some reason doesn't?
Alright, for Superstars, this was another wrestling-heavy show. We had 4 matches in an hour. Evan Bourne versus Epico, Mason Ryan versus JTG, Yoshi Tachu versus Tyson Kidd in another rematch from last week, Jinder Mahal and Ezekiel Jackson in the main event. Overall, there's no real complaints that I have about anything that we saw. I really enjoy what they're doing with the tag team division. I know there's a lot of heat on the WWE as of late that they're not pushing the tag teams enough. But if you keep in the context of how many shows that they have, I mean, they have 3 major shows, if you want to call Superstars a major show, and they are pushing the tag teams across all 3 shows. So, this one specifically, we saw Evan Bourne defeat Epico. They had a singles match of like a month ago. Which you saw the opposite. So they're really building this feud between these 2 teams, specifically Evan Bourne with Air Boom, Epico and Primo, which it's very, very nice to see. And they're even trying to imply that more teams are, joining up in the back, and they're going to be debuting soon because they want to answer the challenge that Air Boom has, basically given by, still having the titles after, 3-4 months now?
Yeah.
Has it been that long?
I think so, yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
They had a month. They had a month gimme with Evan Bourne being on that suspension. So it counts.
Technically a bye week. Yeah, that works.
Garvin, I got to ask you though, were you shocked that Jinder Mahal went over Ezekiel?
Well, no, I'm not shocked about the ending. They've basically been trying to build Jinder Mahal up for the last month and a half as like the next big thing. Unfortunately, they just done a poor job on anything other than Superstars. On SmackDown, they basically were having him have this storyline with Ted DiBiase where you'd keep attacking Ted DiBiase, but then they would have him being squashed by Sheamus. But with Superstars, they are giving him the lead in a lot of these matches. So it's not realistic for him to go over Ezekiel Jackson, especially because how the match ended, they had him wrap on the
camel clutch.
The camel clutch,
yeah.
And I just don't believe that, considering how small Jinder Mahal really is. And how much of a monster they were trying to build Ezekiel Jackson up for like the last 2 years, 3 years, if you consider ECW. So,
Yeah, logistically speaking, I mean, he should have been able to push him off with his shoulder muscles alone.
Yeah,
you see how massive those. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that they're continuing to push him, and although he didn't really get the reaction that they were probably hoping for on SmackDown later on in the week, he did get a very good reaction on Superstars, and maybe that was because he was facing a somewhat fan favorite with Big Zeke, or because the crowd was dumb enough to just hate him because he wasn't from USA. There was a USA chant for this match, by the way, even though they're both not from America.
I'll go with the latter because when he was on Raw, man, he was just abysmal.
Yeah.
I mean, bad. It clearly carried by Sheamus and even Santino to a point. I mean, they keep trying to give Jinder Mahal a shot, and I just don't see it. And he was horrible on Raw.
He needs more time. Superstars is a good place for him to be right now, and if he keeps picking up wins like this, then yeah, I can start believing it. Other than that, the rest of the show was kind of meh. I mean, we saw the Kid versus Tatsu rematch, and it was a fun match, but the problem is it feels like it's too low card to be taken seriously. Like I don't see these guys fighting for a championship anytime soon. We teased it a few weeks ago when we saw Tyson Kidd versus Zack Ryder, but I don't know. I don't think either of these guys are ready.
Well, it just
seems like a good match.
It seems like a glorified dark match.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, right. But that was Superstars. Again, quality matches. It's a good show.
Do you think, Garvin, that like you said, the fact that a lot of guys on the card are not guys we could see realistically for the card, do you think that's one of the reasons why, like you said, Superstars is the show that the IWC wants, but nobody watches it? Well,
I mean, that's really that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, you look at Superstars, it's got the low card. It's got the people that you hope will do well soon, and you would like to see in a bigger time slot. I would love to see Evan Bourne, Air Boom, and Epico and Primo be on a Raw or SmackDown. Jinder Mahal, I'd love to see him do well and get a good reaction. But Superstars is a good place for them now. And why the IWC will not watch Superstars, I don't know. Because, yeah, you're right. It is exactly what they want.
All right, time to chat a bit about SmackDown. Garv, real quick question I have for you about SmackDown. Cody Rhodes defending his championship against Booker T. One, is this getting tired? Because it's the third time, and Rhodes is now 2-1 over him. I mean, do you see that this is the end of that feud, or do you really want to see more matches with these two in it?
Me personally, I would love to see more matches between these two. I love Booker T. I think he looks fantastic lately. I don't want him to retire like they're trying to tease. I'd rather see him in the ring than be at ringside commentary. I think he's a good talent and he gets a good reaction, and how they are pushing the Cody Rhodes and Booker T feud is fine to me.
Okay, do you really see this? Well, no, I mean, I want to agree with you, and I want to say, it's just, I see Booker T now, and he's not Harlem Heat. I mean, that's the problem, is that whenever I see Booker T, it's like when I see The Undertaker. It's like I compare them to 6, 7 years ago, and it's like, they were so much better back then.
Well, yeah, Harrison, I'm with you. It's unfair, but it's the comparison that we have to make. And this screams of just a lack of faces. We've talked about this in the mid-card. Mm-hmm. And, I want to bring this up in a little bit as well, but it really screams of a lack of legitimate faces to go up against some of the best heels we've seen in years in the mid-card. So, I mean, that's probably why, but Harris, I'm still with you. I think back to Harlem Heat. I think back to the glory days, and I shouldn't be able to do that because he's not there anymore. But look, that's only natural, particularly when you're talking about wrestlers. So,
well, if you guys are talking about Harlem Heat, I mean that wasn't 7 years ago. That was like 15 years ago.
Still, I mean, it was when he was in his prime, and he was just crushing it left, right, and center. And when you look at him now, he's naturally not going to be in that form. But I mean, okay, do you find yourself drawing that comparison, Garth, or are you able to look at Booker T now and go, this guy is good now?
If I want to compare Booker to other people that are around his age, like, he's within 10 years of Sting, like other people that should have moved on but never did, he's good. He's putting on good matches. He's not really getting winded. I mean, he's competing at a level that is acceptable to be competing for a title or to be put in a big storyline like this is. So I have no objections to this.
And ultimately, this helps Cody Rhodes. I mean, you've got Booker T because of some of the stuff he did earlier in his career. This helps kind of solidify Cody Rhodes, at least until the WWE figures out what they want to do with him.
No, I think it's clear what they want to do with him. This is it. It's just that Booker T is the guy that they chose to do it. I think the idea of having Cody Rhodes go head-to-head with a prominent face, presumably with the final match of that series being at a major pay-per-view like Royal Rumble, that's just going to catapult them. And I think this is exactly where they wanted Cody Rhodes. I just think Booker T was like I don't want to say Band-Aid, but best of a situation. Like Kevin said, there's a dearth of really good faces at the mid-card.
Yeah, I think he's exceeding expectations. Everyone's. He's exceeding the WWE's expectations. He's exceeding my expectations. So I give him all the credit in the world. But that wasn't the only thing that happened on SmackDown. Right. I don't want to we shouldn't get pigeonholed. Go on. Okay. I'm gonna try to quickly blow through this. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We don't have to review every match.
There are about 7 matches in total. The important things that I made notes about. One was Tamina going over Natalya, and it's not that I really care about women's wrestling anymore, and it's not that I care about Natalya anymore because they keep making her lose. I just don't buy Tamina right now. I think she's very green. She's someone that you would expect to see on like a Superstars, but they seem to be pushing the women's division really awkwardly. You push Alicia Fox, you push Kelly, you push people that don't really have the experience. Tamina has the wrestling background and can get there, just not yet. The other thing was that they continued the Primo and Epico versus Era Boom feud. It was a non-title match. We saw Primo and Epico once again defeat Era Boom, so possibly that's who they're going to be pushing for a tag team title match in the Royal Rumble. It seems like that's who they're really focusing on, and they have great chemistry in the ring. They all have that high flyer mentality, which is nice to see because you don't always see it often. It's usually a small guy versus a big guy in the WWE, and that's not the case for this.
All right, so TNA Genesis, pay-per-view event for TNA. Rob, lay it down for us. Was it quality?
I think it was actually. There were some really great matches. I like the fact that they made the 4-way match an elimination match. We really got to see a lot of Austin Aries, Kid Cash, Sorensen, and Ion. That match seemed to be building a Jesse Sorensen versus Zema Ion feud, which I'm already looking forward to seeing. Kurt Angle versus James Storm was a great match.
None of us predicted Kurt Angle was going to win that.
Right. It got us. It took us by surprise, but it was a good match nonetheless. Morgan and Crimson versus Joe and Magnus. Jesus Christ, that match was awesome. I was really surprised by the show those two teams put on. Abyss versus Bully Ray was another just epic match. Abyss beat the crap out of Bully Ray. Bully Ray beat the crap out of Abyss. It was a good, old-fashioned, old-school ECW-esque type match.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of hardcore wrestling, you loved this match.
I got to interrupt, Rob. I do not agree at all with that. Just because there's hardcore elements in a match doesn't mean you can equate it to ECW.
But it's got Bully Ray.
Well, sure.
You can't deny the nostalgia factor when it comes to Bully Ray.
So you got 2 out of 3 ECW. So
yeah.
You're at 66% ECW, Garvin. I mean, what more do you want?
What I meant
you want them to shoot it in a gym so that way you get the full effect? I mean,
the only thing I got out of this match is that Bully Ray still has it in him, and it's depressing me as a guy who likes Bully Ray to see him stuck in a match like this. The only reason why the crowd was really involved in this match was because of him. He continued to play with the crowd. He continued to get them involved in the match. Otherwise, it was really slow. You saw some hardcore bits, but I wouldn't say this was an epic match. I wouldn't say this is a good match. I think this was what it needed to be, but even then.
Okay, Rob, your rejoiner.
I disagree with that, but I will agree that Bully Ray was the star of this match. Like you said, Garvin, he was the one who got the crowd into it. He's obviously more experienced in these type of matches than Abyss is, and it showed. Because he was able to keep the crowd going. He was able to dictate the pace of the match. And Bully Ray is great at selling moves. When he gets hit with something, he's great at selling it. No matter how much something hurts or doesn't hurt, Bully Ray can make it seem like it nearly killed him. But I thought I thought the match was better than you're giving it credit for. I was highly entertained by the match. And then, we had Bobby Roode and Jeff Hardy, which...
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
Two things. First, Pope let me down. All right, you know what? We're gonna go through. I'm so glad Joe isn't here. Anyway, Joe won. Big fucking deal. You got 5 matches right, so Joe's at 7. I'm still at 8. So right now I got it. Huh?
Oh no, because Joe got Gail Kim, and we all got and the rest of us got that wrong. Never mind.
Yeah, Joe picked Gail Kim. That was the decider. I got let down by Gail Kim and Pope.
I thought, yeah.
Pope
you
let
had
down.
hope you had hope in Pope, but it didn't cash out.
Nope, it did not.
Don't worry, that
cash out.
3-man defense is going to come back to fuck you right in the ass in the end.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't, man. Now look at this. I got you and Joe going after each other. All I got to do is just play both of you. I can do that. I've managed to do it this far. Okay, I only got 4 or 5 more pay-per-views to go, and I just gotta bump check Joe while I'm guarding Kevin. That's all I gotta do.
Ain't happening. You are going down.
I don't think so, son. That was a commanding lead. Okay, before we move on from Genesis, Gunner versus RVD. We were really hard on RVD when we discussed this match previously, saying he's past his prime. He doesn't have it anymore. What do you think of this? I mean, do you think this match gave him life, or do you think that it's still downhill?
He really turned in a better match than he had. I was surprised. I'm not going to go as far to say that he looked like the Rob Van Dam of old.
Yeah.
But he put up a much better match than I was expecting. He stopped phoning. This one wasn't phoned in. He didn't half-ass it. He wasn't gassed. But at the end, he still lost, which I have to wonder, okay, well, given the rumors that we were talking about him possibly rejoining the WWE and the fact that his contract is coming up soon, the fact that he lost to Gunner and then was taken out injury style, that leads me to think that TNA might be just saying, well, you know what?
Write him off.
Yeah, we're whether you're going uphill or not, you're too expensive. We don't really have anything to do with you storyline-wise right now, and we want to focus more on our own talent. So,
okay.
Royal Rumble. He's going to be in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that would be the time to bring him in.
That would not surprise me.
Perfect timing.
That would not be. That would not surprise me, and I would not be. I would almost be expecting the WWE to do something like that, because every year they have one surprise return.
Yeah. One other thing, Rob, were you surprised that the most dragged out and awkwardly pushed feud of Devon versus Pope seemingly ended this Sunday, considering that this whole time Pope has been trying to hit the kids and then turn on the kids? So what's left? What's left to do there?
Oh, you want to know what's left to do there? You start you start Pope versus Devon 2, the battle for the wife.
Oh, jeez.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Neither do I. I'm afraid I'm wrong, but you asked, you're like, there's nowhere to go with this, right? I'm like, oh no.
Well,
there are crappy storylines abound.
We will keep shaking that family tree until we get people falling out of it.
Next month, Grandma!
But that match, but the match was better than I thought. I mean, we've been talking about how Bully Ray has been the better of the two in their singles career. Devon really came to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I went on record saying that Devon versus Pope was my match of the night.
Blah, 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 Garvin, nobody cares.
For a storyline so horribly done, Devon really played the pissed off father, you've messed with my kids and now I'm going to fucking kill you role.
No, very cool. All right, let's dive right into Raw. Kevin, what was your standout moment of Raw? And I think I know what it's going to be.
Yeah, let me talk about a couple of things, and then the standout moment is what I think we all want to talk about, but let me get to that here in a minute. So, a couple of things, that stuck out to me with the Raw. Kane's promo, it was good, but the thing that will strike me about this promo the biggest is whenever a guy is completely over, I always find that the arena is just silent when he starts talking. And you could have heard a freaking pin drop when Kane started that promo. It was good. I mean, I don't want to say there was anything great, but I thought it was a solid promo. But, to me, this really signals that, Kane's is right now as big as anybody can get. I mean, everybody seemed focused on exactly what he had to say and where this is going. So, it was a good promo. Nothing, spectacular, but I'll still say it was solid. You got a little bit more with the Daniel Bryan thing, and obviously a rematch, and interested to see what happens there. Loved the ending to the CM Punk Swagger match. I loved the throw up of just before the 3 count with the controversy, and the ref sold it perfectly. And I still say the most underrated part of any match is the ref, because without a good ref, it's just not the same. And he sold that really well. Just, his eyes kind of darted around like he was nervous, like he knew he screwed up, yet they just rolled with it, and it was all about, Laurinaitis being the guest referee at Rumble. I thought it was very well done. In a very small part, so very kudos to that. The match itself was pretty good. Swagger, I don't know. He just continues to disappoint me. But Punk seemed a little gassed too. I wonder if he's maybe, just with so many house shows, he might be a little gassed. But overall, it was okay. It wasn't anything spectacular. Jericho comes back and cries. I don't know why you have Jericho cry unless this is real. So, anybody else thoughts there, real quick? That's my call.
I when I saw that, it kind of made me harken back a little bit to the Hulk Hogan thing when he was on SmackDown, and we would have to wait for him like 15 minutes for him to cry because he was so emotional that the fans were cheering him, and then he'd do his promo. But outside of that, there's not many guys who can do what Jericho is doing right now and make it interesting.
Yes, and I still, you're dead on, Scott. I'm not hating on it, but I think that this is like him legitimately showing emotion. I don't think this is a work. I just don't see why you'd have the dude cry on camera, unless it's a retirement speech. And I understand, he's loving that the fans are embracing him so much and everything that he's done in his career, but that's where I'm taking it. But yeah, he's still making it interesting. Scott, you're dead on.
Well, to me, he's mimicking, what a lot of the big faces do. If you want to, watch him go from one side of the ring to another side of the ring, that's very Hogan-esque. That's also CM Punk-esque. When CM Punk had the title, and he was having that, the back and forth thing with John Cena. When he's outside of the ring, he's leaning up against the railing and getting the fans, involved. That's totally what CM Punk does. So I think it's a lot deeper than just him having real emotion. I think what it seems like to me is that he's basically mimicking what faces do. And at the same time, you got to remember he left as a heel. So he's got there's got to be more to it than just that.
That's exactly my thing. Like, when you guys say this is the most interesting, it's interesting. It's like, to me, it's interesting because all I keep thinking about is all the video vignettes leading up to this. And I'm just thinking, okay, we're here. Those video vignettes were over here. I want to see how you connect these two. And to me, it just seems like they are quite content to not do that. It's almost like the anonymous Raw GM all over again. Or, well, basically the anonymous Raw GM, where we'll have this thing going on, and then we're just not going to talk about it anymore.
Well, swept under the rug.
At the same time, you have to remember how that was built up. As far as the It Begins thing, they never referenced it on TV. That was always something that it was like between the viewers and whoever was behind the videos. It was never referenced. It was never talked about on WWE.com. So for them to sweep it under the rug, I think that's not it.
So then, what do you do?
I think what we do is just we wait and see how it plays out. I mean, there's obviously meaning to it. They're not going to just drop it. And if they were just going to drop it, then he would come back as a face and not reference it and, talk and build up his character. But he's not. I mean, there's obviously something else in this.
Yeah, I definitely think you're onto something with the whole mimicking the face thing. I mean, you figure how he left. He was one of the most dark heels that they had, and then he's coming back and he's doing all the classic Jericho, which a lot of people wanted to see that. So to have him kind of do this, oh, you like this? This is great. You're having fun with this? Yeah, well, fuck you. Now I'm going to be back to calling you sycophants. It might be one of those things where he's like trying to tease everybody, and then he turns it around and just be like, yeah, you enjoyed it? Well, never again.
No, that could be. I mean, that's probably a legitimate way to go about it. I'm just thinking, it's just so weird with the video vignettes. All right, so
one thing I found interesting about Raw, and I want to get your guys' take on the second inductee that they had for the 2012 class of the Hall of Fame was the Four Horsemen. Now, the Four Horsemen, this was a stable that He Who Must Not Be Named was a part of. What are your guys' takes on that? Is this like
they're looking at the classic Horsemen? They're not looking at anything past there. They're looking at
they're looking at
Blanchard,
okay.
Flair,
So they're talking
Anderson.
about
they're looking at the classic.
okay.
Yeah, they are not going to be putting Voldemort.
Well, I didn't.
Associated.
Well, I didn't think so. I just
Yeah.
I was just wondering if they were if we thought they were going to limit it to just the original, or if they were going to expand it and say, okay, well, we're bringing Dean Malenko because he was one of them.
Rob, let me remind you of something. Steve Mongo McMichael was a horseman. It'll be a whole day in hell before that guy.
There.
I'm a Chicagoan. I gotta talk about this, all right? It'll be a cold day in hell before you see Steve Mongo McMichael in the fucking WWE Hall of Fame.
You should be embarrassed.
That's one of the things I was.
That's
another thing I was concerned about because, like you said, technically McMichael was part of the Horsemen too. I'm like, okay, where are they going with this? Are they going to just limit. I would hope that they would just limit to like the original Four Horsemen, but I could also see them as okay. Well,
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Bring it into Malenko or something like that, yeah.
right.
Okay, so really, let's talk about it. One more thing
I want to mention. One more thing I want to mention before we get to it. The way they did the end of the show, I thought was terrible. Zack Ryder having to fix the wheel was abysmal. Have the car not start. Have them have to fix something under the hood. I don't know, but that was terribly done. Really stupid, and you knew Kane was running in. So now let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about. So to kick it off there, Harrison.
Funkmaster Brodus.
Damn right. Funky Too Cold Scorpio is back. Funkasaurus Rex Brodus Clay has finally returned to the WWE, and in my opinion, the greatest ring entrance of all time.
That was fantastic. That whole thing was fantastic.
I watched that. The only thing I could think is, oh man, Jericho, you just got showed.
And the thing was, it's like even during the match, Brodus sold the gimmick so well. Yeah. It was so well done.
It was.
He did. That's the thing I took out of this the most, and this is where I want to go with this. I don't agree with the way they went with it. I still think they should have made him the Wrecking Machine. But I've been thinking about this ever since I watched it. I want to go back to about 2 months ago when we had Bill Martell on the show. When we were talking about the delay of the Brodus Clay debut, he said something good that really stuck with me and that I won't forget. He said he can't be a face because he's not good looking. Vince won't have it. But what did they try and do with this angle? They're trying to make him a face. That's the thing that I think, above all else, we need to take out of this. I think that WWE sees a lack of mid-card faces. It's what we mentioned, what I talked about a little bit earlier, and what we talked about for weeks. And they said, we really think this guy has something, but how can we make him get over as a face? So they repackaged about 3 things and threw them out there. And like you guys said, it was almost like a so bad it's good kind of thing. Like the Funkasaurus.
Yes.
Funkasaurus. I just gotta say one thing. The coolest thing, and you want to talk about him being a wrecking machine, that's fine. I love the move where he went to do the standard lock, and he just swats Kurt Hawkins down to the ground. I was on the floor laughing my ass off because that was just so epic. Boom!
And one thing to keep in mind, guys, we were expecting this mean, angry monster to come in and destroy. For the most part, we assumed what we would see in the first couple of weeks would be him destroying anyone who went into his path.
Like Karma 2.0.
And look at how they've handled this. He is still a wrecking ball. He still destroyed Kurt Hawkins.
Absolutely.
It's just that instead of giving him the same role that they've given all of the other big, bulky, wrecking ball type guys like a Mason Ryan or a Batista or
Mark Henry.
Yeah, you name it. They actually gave him a character and, charisma. They let him own the gimmick, and I think that's what needs to be, remembered, is that he is doing exactly what we expected him to do, just above and beyond that.
And I think it comes down to what Kevin said. Okay, so he comes out as a wrecking ball. He's going to be another wrecking ball heel. You can't spit in the WWE without hitting one of these guys. So like Kevin said, let's just make it absurd. Let's make it fun. Stick him out there, and let's hope to God this plays because, we're unzipping the pants and letting it all hang out. And man, I'm looking forward to next week.
Yeah,
I want to hear that music.
He took the reins and he just ran with it. It was nice. It was really nice.
Yeah, I could say I was drinking beer and they were like the Funkasaurus, and I sort of choked on it. Really.
When that music played, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And the dancers and the whole deal. You know, you want to sell the gimmick, go to 11 with it, and they did. Good for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
All right, so let's move on to main news. Before we do that, Edge is being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Anyway, down on the main event, friends of the show, Steven Espinoza and Jesse Malloy, wanted us to talk about Daniel Bryan's heel turn on SmackDown. Well, heel turn. I mean, it depends how you look at it. Do you guys think this is a good move?
Can I step in here real quick?
Yeah, sure.
No!
This is not a heel turn. I don't understand why everyone in the IWC is trying to push this as a heel turn. I mean, the thing that you have to remember is before he got the title, he was like this timid guy that didn't really talk a whole lot, you know, up until he had his little spat with Michael Cole. Mm-hmm. I mean, all he has done is he has gotten confidence, and he is doing anything it takes to retain the title, especially against a guy like Big Show. I mean, you can't just go into a match against Big Show at any size and expect to have a regular match with him and win. You have to pull out the stops and do whatever it takes to win, and that's what he's done. So that's not a heel turn. That's just a champion, trying to retain.
I don't think it's necessarily the fact that he did whatever he could to retain. It's the celebration that's technically kind of falling into the heel turn thing, because he's being so animated about his wins, and honestly, like on Raw when he beat Kofi Kingston, I think it was, he acted like he just won a gold medal. And I think what it is it's kind of starting to rub off as a chauvinistic, or not a chauvinist, I'm sorry. He's showing off, and he's basically, it's getting old because of the fact that he's celebrating all these wins, he's in everybody's face with it. And I think after a few more weeks, it's just going to get to a point where it's almost going to be kind of like a Christian heel turn, where they kind of slowly start to go the other way.
Really? No, I'm sorry. I mean, all right.
Am I wrong?
He's douchey for sure.
Yeah.
I think how he's doing it, he does come off as a douchebag, but at the same time, in the context of what's happening, it's not like he won the title against someone of similar size. He's been going up against Mark Henry and Big Show. Yeah, he should be very enthusiastic for winning. Kofi Kingston, okay, maybe that was a little over. But
Kofi Kingston.
Still.
He's doing the same thing no matter who he beats. That's the point. So you
He's
think
scrappy.
like next week when he squashes somebody else, you're going to validate that too?
Well, when he starts getting a negative reaction from the crowd, and they don't cheer him when he stands up on the ring barrier, then I will
You didn't see
say,
those thumbs down when he when he won by disqualification. You didn't see the people react negatively at all. Are you fucking blind?
Wow.
Geez, Scott, tell us how you really feel.
Seriously.
It's not happening all the time. Yeah, that ending.
Of course it's
sucked.
not happening all the time. It's only been like a week.
No, but I mean, the match sucked. I agree. And yes, I saw the fans boo the ending of that match. But overall, they are giving him a good reaction. He's still, getting cheers.
Of course he's still going to get cheers. This is because this whole thing is still relatively new. I mean, it's just now starting to get to the point where it's like, okay, we get it. You're happy about your win. That's fantastic. But you also have to start noting some of the characteristics that Daniel Bryan had. I mean, remember when Big Show came down on Raw and told him, I'm going to get that rematch. He kind of hesitated a little bit. He's like, okay.
Would
no
you
DQ, no
openly
count out.
accept a rematch against the Big Show? I mean...
Well, 1 second he's like, I'll give you a rematch at any time, and then all of a sudden he says, no count out, no disqualification, and he's just like, okay, sure. If anything, I mean, granted, Big Show's a big dude. You should be scared of anything that he can do. But at the same time, if you're a fighting champion, it shouldn't matter if it's a no disqualification. It shouldn't matter if it's a no count out. You shouldn't be matter if it's a Hell in a Cell. If you are this animated, if you are this into your confidence and you're ready to rock, you should not be going, okay, sure, let's do it.
We never saw, for comparison, Hulk Hogan nervous to take on Andre the Giant.
Oh no, he was gung-ho.
Well,
I mean,
that's so.
If you're going to be if you're going to be a face, and it's the same with John Cena. We don't see John Cena back down from people. John Cena's like,
he seems pretty scared of Kane.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing, but at the same time, Daniel Bryan is not John Cena or Hulk Hogan. I mean, the two characters are completely different size
Right.
men, different
But-
gimmicks.
Right, but my point is that usually the face, if you're usually, when you're talking from a pro wrestling standpoint, usually the face is the one who's not afraid.
Well, it's not even just from the face standpoint. When you say that you're a fighting champion, the whole point of that is the fighting part, the open beginning part. It kind of alludes to the fact that you want to go, you want to fight, and if it's a guy like the Big Show, bring it on.
Okay, all right. So overall, heel turn, good move? Yes or no?
No.
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 I don't agree with it. No.
No.
I was expecting Big Show to turn heel, and that might still happen. I think it's too early to really say. But no, I don't want to see him being the heel.
But I have a question for Garvin, who admitted that Daniel Bryan has been a bit of a douchebag lately. Can you be a douchebag and not be a heel?
Well, Jericho was a
Punk.
bit of a douchebag when he was a face, and yeah, CM Punk is a douchebag, but he still gets face popped. He's still considered a face.
Okay, that's true. I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Okay.
You also don't see Jericho and CM Punk kind of doing some of the mannerisms that Daniel Bryan's doing, though. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Don't get me wrong, but there still is a little difference to what Daniel Bryan is doing versus the anti-hero that CM Punk and Stone Cold and all them had.
Okay, no, that's a fair point. All right, so moving on. Friend of the show, Steve C, wanted us to talk about how social media has changed the way we watch and talk about wrestling. All right,
Harrison,
yeah.
I'm with you. It's made me want to shoot myself every time they mention Twitter.
Well, yeah, but you have no idea you didn't know what Twitter was until 3 weeks ago.
Well, yeah. But not relevant.
I mean, it's just...
The question's about wrestling, Harrison, not about me. Let's get back to that.
You don't use Twitter. I barely use Twitter. Look, I'm gonna say this. I don't use Twitter. I mean, I've tried repeatedly to do it, and it's like going to the dentist. I hate it. I don't like doing it. So I'm just gonna pull myself away from this conversation and open it up to the floor. Kevin, you're with me only because. Do you have a Twitter account? I think we started one for you, and I think the first tweet was, "How do I use this?" No, that's right. That's right. It was. Is this on?
It should have been.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think one of the big things, and I know Kevin has said this too, like you said, the WWE beats people to death with Twitter. I really think one of the areas where if you're going to use Twitter or something related to pro wrestling, you should use it somewhat like what TNA has been doing. TNA comes out and, a few times during the show, it's like, hey, here's our question of the week. Give us your thoughts about this. Not every 5 seconds it's like, oh, don't forget to come on to Twitter, hashtag WWE, and, just say something so that we trend worldwide.
Well, but there's a difference between what the companies are doing with social media and what Steve Corino was referring to when he said, how has social media changed the way we watch and talk about wrestling? The thing is that it made wrestling fans more connected. It brought a lot of the different groups of wrestling fans together. So in that respect, social media is good. We've reached so many people because of Twitter and Facebook, and we can continue these conversations. Not just us sit, the 5 of us, the 6 of us, at a table and talk about wrestling, but we can talk ongoing throughout the week. And there's never been really a time like that since, I don't know, maybe the 80s, which I don't really have a lot of experience with. But what I'm saying is that wrestling is still somewhat underground as far as fans go. Fans have never had a good way to talk to one another, and this opens huge doors to do that.
Right
yes, overall it has been a positive thing, but at the same time, with the positive, you get the douchebags who think they're wrestling fans and end up just complaining to complain.
No.
As anybody
no,
who has
Rob's got a
tried to
point.
live
It's just-
tweet, as anybody who has tried to live tweet a TNA show, Jesus H. Christ.
And we appreciate you jumping on that grenade for us. No, Rob has a point. It's just, Twitter always struck me as watching a room full of balloons pop. It's there and gone. I mean, the conversation is so fast, it's not lasting in any sense of the word, and so I gravitate more towards Facebook and online message boards, which technically, I mean, it is social media, but it's not. I mean, when people talk about social media, they're usually referring to Twitter.
No, that's not the case. I mean, Facebook is also social media.
Yeah,
social
but...
media is any medium that, internet-based that you can use to communicate with one another.
Right.
Well,
but what
I
I
think
say,
there's-
but my point is, I think Facebook and stuff has done more to help than Twitter has. Twitter is just a bunch of assholes popping off about whatever.
Damn, what the hell is it like on there Thursday nights?
No, Rob, you're oversimplifying it, because the assholes are everywhere. It's just that with Twitter, once the show is over, the conversation ends. But with other social media venues like Facebook, those conversations can continue. But you're always going to have, those trolls that will try to ruin every conversation because they can. This is the internet, and a lot of it's anonymous. So, yeah. You can't just say Twitter is full of assholes, and that's where they sit, because that's not completely accurate.
Damn, Garvin, wow. Defending Twitter. Look at you
Damn.
go, buddy.
So
However,
that we
follow
don't
us,
spend
on
all
Twitter.
night, so that we don't spend all night debating on this. I'll keep my opinion to myself, but
jeez, man, seriously.
I'll
Thursday-
leave it with I disagree with you, Garvin.
Is Thursday night really that bad? Rob?
It is. It
Okay.
was at times, but outside of live tweeting,
Okay.
yeah, outside of live tweeting, TNA, the very concept of Twitter, it has evolved into something better. I've seen the good that it's done, like in the Middle East revolutions and stuff like that. I've seen the good that it's done, and I'm psyched as hell that people have been using it as a good thing. But the concept of Twitter, which is just to tell people what you're doing, most people don't give a crap what I'm doing through the course of my day.
Well,
I don't care.
I
I
do.
don't care what most people are doing through the course of their day. It's an arrogant concept. I'm
No.
glad that people have taken it and kind of turned it into something better. But the concept at first was kind of douchebag to begin with.
Okay.
And yes, Thursday nights to
terrible.
make it short, Thursday nights were that bad.
Okay.
And I'll stop there before I really go on a rant.
I'm glad you kept that one short, Rob.
Yeah, me too. Alright, so time for quick hits. Ba-da-ba-ba-bow, quick hits. Alright, it's time for quick hits. For those guys new to the show, each one of us is going to have 30 seconds to sound off on a news topic. If there's time afterwards, we'll scream at each other for a little bit. Item number 1. Will on the TWR Facebook group says Paul Heyman should be inducted in this year's class of Hall of Fame. Do you agree? 2 points going towards it on Twitter. At KHOLT Jr. Colt Jr. Said, yes, look at his lifetime achievement, his creative force, and both CM Punk and Brock Lesnar are Heyman guys. CM Punk good, Brock Lesnar not so much. RKO Voices says, hell yeah. So, what do you guys think? How Paul Heyman included in this year, or any year, WWE Hall of Fame? Go, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, he did not just his work with the original ECW brand, which I know doesn't count, but he did a lot of work for the WWE after they bought out and kind of merged WCW. There was the Invasion storyline. Heyman contributed in a lot of ways, and people like CM Punk are people like CM Punk, like RVD, who have been stars in the past for the WWE or are stars right now, are Heyman guys. So yeah, I say he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. Kevin, go buddy.
Absolutely, positively, yes. Across the board for the things that he's done, WWE, ECW, the creative genius that he had, and the way that he did his storylines, where it was this slow burn and then something incredible would always come out of it. No question in my mind. I think this is a great topic, and kudos to Will for putting it up there. Yes, absolutely, putting Heyman in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, Scott.
Should Paul Heyman go in there? Absolutely. As far as what Rob was saying, first off, they're putting the Four Horsemen in there, so I don't think it's totally a WWE Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Right.
But definitely he should go in there. But should it be this year? I don't think so. Only because they already got Edge and the Four Horsemen in there this year. I think he'll get watered down if they do it this year. So they should do it maybe next year or another year.
Okay. Garvin, go.
Okay, has he done everything that he needs to do to deserve a spot? Yeah, definitely. This year, no. And my reason is because if you look at the inductee list, there is only one active guy that is on this list that is currently active in the WWE on a weekly basis, and that is Jerry Lawler. And one thing that we have said over and over again is, man, it would be great if Paul Heyman came back. And what you're basically saying, if you induct him in the Hall of Fame this year, is that he's done. He's retired. So no, he shouldn't be in this year. But eventually, yes.
Yeah,
Is Lawler already in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, that's exactly the point. Garvin, you're absolutely right. This year, no. In the future, yeah, I want to say no, because I want to say, no, he doesn't deserve to be in there. But I would like to point out that, the refrigerator is in there. Drew Carey is in there. There's a lot of room in here for us to fit, I just, we can fit Heyman in here.
Pete
not
Rose
now.
is in there.
I'm sorry?
Well, you can't
Pete Rose
group.
is in the Hall of Fame.
Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame.
You can't group the celebrities with everyone else. But if you look at people who have owned companies, you're looking at Stu Hart, Vince McMahon Sr., guys like this. So, yeah, he would be among those groups, most likely, I would assume.
No, there's a bunch of guys in there. I mean, you got Eddie Graham. He was a booker for FCW. So it's like there's room in there for more obscure people that weren't in front of the camera or as famous as far as most average fans would know. So yeah, I think Paul Heyman could go in there. I just, like Garvin said, he's done. Personally, I don't think he's coming back. Like Kevin pointed out, the Four Horsemen as a group will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Famer later this year. J.J. Dillon will be inducted with Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and Wyndham. How do you think they're going to handle Ricky getting in there? Rob?
Well, see, this is why I kind of asked about that when we were talking about Raw. I don't know how you do handle that with Rick currently being employed by TNA. I think that's going to be really delicate ground for the WWE to tread, because they're either going to have to acknowledge his current employment or just pretend he doesn't work for anybody.
Okay. Kevin?
Yeah, I'm with Rob. I think this is a really delicate situation, but he was such a big part of it. You obviously have to have him as part of the video packages, and do they invite him for a speech? I don't know. If they have Arn, Tully, Berrywood there, I think it'll be plenty. Because to be perfectly honest, and this is not biased, I think Rick will get in on his own anyway eventually.
He already is.
So
he's already in on his own.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
he was in.
Yeah, he was inducted 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Let me look it up real quick. Go on. No, keep going.
Okay, well, it's bottom line is it's a delicate situation. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle this. So, but if you have the other three there, I think they're going to be fine.
Okay. Scott.
Yeah, you guys kind of already brought it up for me. Ric Flair's already in the Hall of Fame, so he doesn't technically need to be there. I think if they're going to put the spotlight on these guys, put him in there without Ric Flair, because, I mean, you got a guy like Arn Anderson who was a fantastic wrestler back in the day, and he deserves to be in there in his own right. So put the spotlight on the guys that deserves it, and let Ricky stay in TNA and be the wrestling guy.
God!
You see me? You see God?
It's just because Joe isn't here. Someone's got to do that. Garv, go.
Well, yes, he is already in the Hall of Fame, so most likely he won't be on stage. But to suggest that he won't be there, I think is a mistake, because when HBK got inducted,
Bingo.
Flair was in the crowd.
Yeah.
So he will be there. Will they bring him on stage? Probably not, because he's still in TNA, if he still is in TNA at the time. But the one thing that will be different this Hall of Fame than when HBK was inducted is that they will reference him, and he probably will be in a lot of the packages.
Here's the thing. Ric Flair, he was technically working for Ring of Honor when he actually inducted Steamboat, I believe. So he was signed by another company, and he was on stage. So, I mean, like, I could see him being up there. He won't say anything. It'll all be probably Arn Anderson, I'd imagine, and it should be. And really, he should be inducted by himself. But
Yeah.
I think Rick's just gonna be in the background wearing a suit, maybe a TNA pay-per-view ticket. Tickets are on sale right now, on his shirt, because they gotta promote that somehow. Damn it! So, I think, wouldn't that be awesome? I mean, he just rips his shirt open, and it just says like TNA. It just has like a giant Matt Morgan shirt.
If that
probably just
happened, I would
replace it.
salute Rick for that one day.
That would be
I would honestly stand up and salute him.
That would be epic from the moment you see the shirt right up until he gets tackled by WWE security and Vince's head explodes.
You can just angrily poke him, and he'll fold like a freaking accordion. Okay, so WWE is going back to 12 pay-per-views per year. WWE has reportedly decided to nix the October pay-per-view Vengeance. Means there's going to be several weeks of build between Hell in a Cell and Survivor Series. Anybody going to miss it? And are you looking forward to the build to Survivor Series? Do you think this is going to be kind of the Survivor Series that it once was? Rob?
I will miss it. I like the Vengeance pay-per-view. I think if you're going to cut other pay-per-views, you can cut some of the other smaller, crappier pay-per-views out. Like the Cyber one, or one of the other smaller ones that's just been like recent additions. With the longer build-up, though, I think that does make Survivor Series a better pay-per-view, and hopefully it might get back to what it used to be.
Okay. Kevin?
No, I won't miss it, and I think they have way too many pay-per-views as it is, but I understand it's about making money, and that's how they make the majority of it. No, I won't miss it. I do hope that it provides a little bit more build, because they try and squish so many in there right before Christmas. So I think it's a good idea. The wrestlers need a break, and I hope it does provide more build for Survivor Series. I'm a fan of that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott, go.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. It's good to see them go back to 12 pay-per-views. Honestly, it gets too chaotic towards the end of the year with their pay-per-views, where they're supposed to be a 4-week build, but sometimes it's like 2-3 weeks. So hopefully it'll kind of balance that out a little bit. And Survivor Series is always awesome, so hopefully this time we'll have more Survivor Series matches since they won't be so gassed.
Garvin, go.
I'm going to disagree on one point, and that is I would rather have Vengeance and get rid of one of the gimmick pay-per-views. I'd rather them get rid of Money in the Bank and bring the Money in the Bank match back to WrestleMania exclusively, or get rid of Hell in a Cell and add the Hell in a Cell match to Vengeance. I mean, I think they would do a better job if they got rid of one of those pay-per-views instead and used Vengeance for just a regular pay-per-view.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, fair enough. See, that's the thing. I mean, Garver brings up a really good point. I mean, when you look at the usual WWE calendar, Vengeance was kind of bookended by nothing but gimmick pay-per-views for at least a while. I don't know. I mean, I don't see them dropping. Vengeance really is the only one on here that I could see them dropping, because Money in the Bank is becoming such a huge thing as far as a gimmick goes, and Cyber Sunday plays so well into the Twitter thing. They're not getting rid of that. If anything, we're going to see Cyber Sunday being promoted probably more than even Extreme Rules or Over the Limit.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right, Harrison.
Because I just see that's going to be the next...
But you could still take, like, Extreme Rules or TLC or one of those other, like...
You could probably drop TLC.
Like Garvin said, one of those gimmick-themed, smaller gimmick-themed pay-per-views and drop those and add one of those matches to Vengeance or something.
Yeah, that's true. The undercard, ESPN's financial expert Michelle Steele says that WWE has says that WWE has stated that John Cena was worth $106 million in retail value in 2010.
Damn!
Yeah.
Damn. And you wonder why they keep him in the main event.
Yeah, you if that ATM is broken and spitting out 20s, you do not walk away to Subway. You stay right there, and you got your shirt out in that basket motion, and you are shoveling that shit in, because, yeah.
Hey, Harrison, did you do any research on how we can compare that with what everyone else is bringing in?
Not really, because they didn't really. It was just this one thing. I mean, they didn't really say. I think it was just like a holy crap moment. They didn't really break it down according to wrestler, as far as I could find out.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, if you can, fantastic. I mean, first of all, I couldn't even find the original article, but I mean, if you can find out if it's broken down, that'd be kind of interesting. Because I would like to see how CM Punk plays up against that, considering how well he was doing. So that'll be interesting. All right, since Angle is no longer employed by WWE, he gets to hop on the dirt shoveling bandwagon. Basically, he's bitching about Jack Swagger and Randy Orton using his moves. The thing is, though, he sees a caveat for himself, because he acknowledges that he didn't come up with the ankle lock, that Ken Shamrock did. But he's saying that he waited until Shamrock retired to do the ankle lock. Therefore, the company has no respect. I say the company has no respect as I adjust my tie. So, I don't know. I mean, do you think that's disrespectful? That they're not, I mean, he's not working for WWE.
Yeah, I mean a little bit, but at the yeah, I see it both ways. Is the thing. I mean, he's a legend. He at this point is a legend in the industry. So yes, I think he deserves a little bit more respect than that. But he's not working for the company. So if Vince says use that move, what do you think the wrestler is going to do?
And the thing of it is it's so impossible to come up with an original move. Just about any move you do or you see in pro wrestling these days has either directly been done before or is a variation of a move that's been done before.
Okay.
As much as I'd like to side with Angle, I think he's being a little too bitchy.
I think I would appreciate this story if it came from anyone other than Angle.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Speaking of which, he did talk about Vince McMahon. He says, I love Vince McMahon. He came up with the Kurt Angle character. He ran with it, and I was able to run with it. And so I thank him for the opportunity he gave me. Vince McMahon was one of my best friends, period. Oh, by the way, I am loyal to Dixie Carter. Nah, he says now I'm loyal to Dixie Carter, but it's like after the Vince McMahon schlob fest, you're like, dude, that's not your boss anymore. Although you gotta wonder, do you think that maybe we have Vince all wrong? Like, Vince is just like this really, really nice guy. Like, it's, hey, I found your car keys. Oh, thanks,
shut
Vince.
Up. Let's move on.
No, I really think maybe he's just a genuinely, he's a fun guy. He's just like,
right.
All right, fine. Hey, I parked your car for you. I mean, it's...
Kevin's got some McMahon hate.
Hey, let's call it the way it is.
Kevin's got some man hate. I like that. Okay. All right,
Only for you, Harrison.
Thank you. I appreciate that, buddy.
Anytime. Yeah, now that awkwardness is over.
Well, really, the problem is that Kevin's just not big enough for Vince McMahon.
True that.
He loves big dudes.
He does love big dudes.
We had to say it at some point during the show. Hey, Garv, you got anything on ESPN thing?
No, I found the original article. Right now I'm looking at WWE's corporate website, looking at their financial statements, but they haven't really released anything since 2009. So they have a 2010 proxy statement, but I'm on page 15 of 30,
you're not gonna find
I haven't seen anything yet.
No, you're not going to find it. If it's a no. Wow, they're a public company, and all they have is a proxy statement from last year?
Yeah, I want answers there. There should be more information.
Well, come on.
They
Are
have
you
to reveal their books every 3 months.
Well,
I'm seeing how much the top people have brought in, like Vince McMahon, as far as how much he's worth and whatnot. But other than that, I'm not seeing it being broken down by superstar or T-shirt sales or anything like that.
Yeah, that's probably more of a private thing.
So I'll continue looking as we go through the show.
Suck on it, CNBC. Look what we're doing. We're doing research and shit, talking about monies and the purchasing of.
That's some real journalism right there.
Goddamn right. I want to see the other wrestling blogs pull this one out live right here. And we're going to have Jim Cramer on, who's going to bang a giant gong and then smash a button with his ass or something, whatever the hell he does on that show. All right, time for win, fail. Wins of the week. Your win of the week? Go, Rob.
My win of the week is going to be the Genesis pay-per-view. I thought it was a good way to start off 2012 for TNA, who ended 2011 on a strong note, as we pointed out, the ratings going up and whatnot, so it's a promising start.
Okay, cool. Kevin, your win of the week.
My one of the week is Joe, even though this is his first week off, because 95 weeks in a row on the podcast is a damn long time.
Yes.
So kudos to the man, as much as I bust his chops here on the show. And believe me, he does a ton of work that nobody, in between shows, more or less what I'm getting at. So, kudos to Joe. We'll see you next week, buddy, and I hope you're having fun in Vegas.
Yeah, really. I mean, I got to be completely honest. When I came to him with this idea, his exact reaction was, all right, fine, whatever. 95 weeks later, he's the Cal Ripken Jr. of our show. I just couldn't believe it. So, yeah, I mean, he's just like, fuck it, fine.
But
I'll do anything
Joe.
Wednesday night.
I mean,
Yeah, it is Joe. He's like, fuck, fine.
you can come to him with the greatest idea ever, and he'll be like, yeah, I'll give it a try, why not?
Sure, what the hell?
Fuck it.
All right, cool. Scott, your win of the week. Don't say it's for letting us on this show.
I actually wasn't going to say that.
Thank
I was going
you.
to say, fuck Master Brodus Clay. The Funkasaurus. It is actually really awesome to see gimmick wrestlers again. I enjoy this. This is awesome. Let's do this again with somebody with more talent.
Ouch. You don't think his showing against Kurt Hawkins was good enough?
He just swatted the guy. He bounced off the mat.
Scott's a big fan of the power moves. All right, fair enough. Garvin, you gonna win?
It's funny hearing Scott's reaction to that and comparing it to Kevin's reaction to Kurt Angle throwing everyone through the Christmas tree a few weeks ago. very, very similar. I am 100% in agreement. I love the Brodus Clay return, and the impression I have is that the WWE is willing to give the fans everything that they are asking for. Like we all asked for Brodus Clay to come back, kind of thing. They're giving us everything that we expected. But then there's like just one key thing that they change, and it pisses everyone off who's the quote-unquote wrestling fans of the internet wrestling community. Like Jericho's return. It's just something is slightly off, and it's pissing everyone off, and I love it. I'm glad that WWE still has a sense of humor.
My win of the week, I wanted it to be Brodus Clay. And, you know what? Yeah, fuck it, fine. It's you know what? No, it's the theme. It is the goddamn the entire entrance. It was like you picture how you would want something to be creatively, and you got to think that had to be washed through how many people, how much of a committee, who had a say on it, who could have said no at any point, and yet it's still he had backup dancers, and they even did the bus driver, people. They did the bus driver. I mean, come on. How could you not love that? Anybody in the IWC who looks at that and says fail, you, sir, are wrong. And I realize it's your opinion, and there is no right or wrong opinion, but there is, and this is the wrong one.
All he needed was a huge feather in the band of his hat, and he could have pulled off the Godfather impression. Too.
Because then he could have just ran his finger across it or something. It was so perfect. All right, fails of the week. Rob, your fail of the week.
My fail of the week is going to be the Mickey James, Gail Kim match. I'm getting tired of these guys fighting for the Knockouts title, and I'm getting tired of them finding new and more inventive ways to screw Mickie James over. Just fucking either give her the title or get her out of the way and give one of the other Knockouts a shot at it.
Okay. Kevin, your fail of the week. Woo.
My fail of the week is Jinder Mahal on Raw. I mean, it was just beyond bad. You better pick it up or get the fuck out, or just stay on Superstars. I don't care what you got to do. But you're in there with Sheamus, you're in there with Santino, and it was horrible. So, no, stop, put him on Superstars, let him figure some shit out, or just future endeavor him, please. It was bad.
Okay. Scott, your fail of the week.
My fail of the week is that segment with Zack Ryder and Kane, not necessarily because of the tire change, even though that was a big part of it, but if you're running from a guy who clearly wants to kill you, you're not going to have Eve sit in the freaking passenger side and just stay there.
There were so many things about that segment that
It was
terrible.
wrong. It
Were
was wrong.
terrible.
If you got a guy coming after you, and if your car has a flat tire, you go to the fucking road and you pick up a taxi. You don't stick around
That's
changing
exactly
a
what I
tire.
was saying as well.
Seriously, fuck the car.
Yeah,
it's just not worth it.
Or don't even worry that the tire is flat. Just drive. You can
Yeah.
drive for like a half of a mile and then stop and then do what you need to do to fix it before Kane catches up with you.
Yeah, really, how
Seriously.
fast do you think Kane can really cross a half mile? The dude is
Apparently
not an
pretty damn
Olympian,
fast.
all right? So if you can
It's not
shred
like
that
Kane's
rim to no end.
T1000 or anything.
Yeah, really. So you 20 miles an hour. I mean, I doubt Kane could do a half mile in 6 minutes. So I'm thinking you just bought 6 minutes of time.
And just one last thing. Naturally, I don't think Zack Ryder would have died because in all classic horror movies, the virgins never die.
This is true.
Jeez.
See?
Slow cut. Slow clap.
It is the highest honor we can bestow.
Slow clap. buddy.
I'll take it.
That was a
I'll
good
take it.
one. All right, Garvin, your fail of the week.
Let's go back to TNA Genesis real quick. The problem that I had at the very beginning is that they ran this boo track to basically get the crowd behind Jesse Sorensen and against both Kid Cash and Austin Aries. And they had another production issue where they just kept it running for 10 minutes. And then it just dropped. It was the most awkward thing, especially because this is the first match of the night. You're trying to... You should be playing a cheer track, if anything, because you want your fans to get into the show at the very beginning. And it was like the opposite. It was really awkward. Just another production fumble during a pay-per-view, which TNA has done routinely now for some reason. So
I think they're running
my
out of
fail.
hamsters to run in the wheels. My fail. Okay, I have a fail I can't read on the air because it'll get us in trouble. But my fail is honestly okay. It's kind of complicated. Morgan and Crimson versus Joe and Magnus on Genesis, quality tag match. Yet the TNA tag division is still kind of. It's nowhere. It's like that. That used to be the most dynamic thing about TNA, aside from the knockouts, because the world title picture was so crap. But and now it's just languishing there. And then here's a pool of talent here, four guys, not a formal tag team, four guys putting on a clinic, and it's like, I mean, at the very least, maybe they could do some kind of round robin thing with the titles, where you pick your name out of a hat, that's your team member, they make a tournament, and there they go. I don't know, but I'm starting to think the TNA wrestlers can work well with each other and against each other in a variety of different situations, and I really wish that they would start playing to that strength, and it doesn't seem like they're doing it.
well, that and they've split up. A lot of the good
Yeah,
tag teams,
yeah,
like
the-
AJ and Kaz are now split up.
Yeah.
Beer
money.
You know,
British Invasion or
British
split up.
Invasion. I would have some patience on this one because we don't know what's going to happen with Joe and Magnus. They looked pretty they looked like a great team. So I wouldn't necessarily say that the division is totally dead, but unless they bring someone else in, it is going to be dead.
This is the thing.
Well, Motor City Machine Guns will come back at some point.
We didn't see any evidence of like Joe and Magnus fighting with each other. I mean, they left as a team.
Right.
Right. Well, not even that, but like that kind of mismatch, like miscues, kind of things where they're kind of like, just when the chemistry isn't there. But it seems like whenever we get these impromptu tag matches from TNA, they're always above quality.
Yeah, you make a really good point, Harrison. I mean, we complain about the WWE when they do this thing, this kind of thing all the time because the chemistry isn't there.
Yeah.
But I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think any wrestler in TNA can work with any other wrestler in TNA in just about any role.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know if it's because they hate management so much, but there it is. All right, question of the week. We're doing this one a little bit a week ahead of time because we're going to be doing the show next week and want your answers. Who's going to win the Royal Rumble? So we're going to put this on our Facebook and our Twitter. We want to hear who you guys think is going to win the big Royal Rumble. So definitely hit us up on there and let us know because we can discuss your answers along with our answers on the show. 96 episodes in, and we're finally figuring that out. Ask the question a week ahead of time, so that we have the responses.
That's what TNA does.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what we're gonna do. So we gotta remember to do that. As always,
so TNA was smarter than us for once. Let's give it to them.
Yeah, slow clap. Slow clap, guys.
See what you did there.
Bring it in.
All right, that's enough. Of that.
Yeah, this wasn't a Scott level good. This was TNA. Okay. Let's keep let's make sure that we're rewarding the correct effort here. All right. As always, you can find this episode as well as our entire archive on ftwpodcast.com. And just in case you wanted to share the experience with others, join us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twrnetwork.com. Chat with us and the rest of the listeners of TWR as we make dick jokes. Facebook.com/FTW Podcast, Twitter.com/FTW Podcast, YouTube.com/The FTW Podcast. Phone us at 313-444-FTW4 if you want to leave a message or call us during a live show. That's 313-444-3894. You can download our iOS and Android apps, and please rate us on iTunes. And we're going to be coming out with merch that we're going to start plugging next week. So buy a t-shirt and support your local podcaster because we're po'. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we get the hell out of here? Oh, Scott, plug your damn podcast.
Well, no, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say I like how you could do your closing links so much faster than I can do on my show. I get freaking laughter through half of it, and I can't do it as quick as that.
96
That's
episodes.
actually pretty epic. That's pretty nice.
I talk to
Pretty
these
awesome.
people more than my family.
Well, that's not really funny.
The sad thing is that's probably
And on
true.
that note, why don't we end the show?
No. Let Scott promote his thing. I mean, I gotta give him that. Sorry, don't want to run all over you anyway, buddy. Limp Podcast. That.
The Lethal Injection Minecraft Podcast, acronymed for LIMP. But yes, it's at lethalinjectionpodcast.com, and if you are sick and tired of hearing these guys, you can hear me talk for an hour and a half.
And
nobody's
stealing
going
our
over it.
jokes.
I steal one joke per episode.
Well, that's not bad. I mean,
And I give credit. Although
Alright.
I swear to God, there was one joke that I swear to God I did not intend to rip, and that was the Pink Ranger thing. And then all of a sudden Joe was just like, "Dude, you totally ripped that from us." I'm like, "What?" And he linked me the episode, showed me exactly where it was at. I'm like, "Oh my fucking God, I am so sorry." Apparently, I really did.
I mean,
Joe's really touchy about those kind of things.
he is kind of Metallica about it. Don't steal his shit. So I do want to apologize for him about that.
Bastard.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was fine. No, I like the next episode. I was just like, by the way, I just want to give credit where it's due.
Oh,
Pink Ranger,
dude,
FTW.
do not do that. Do not do. If
I-
anything, steal
I
more
don't
shit
want
from
Joe
Joe.
to
Come
punch
on.
my ass. He's got a big hand.
He does have freakishly large hands, doesn't he?
It's like meat cleavers.
They are. God damn. I mean,
God.
that is something I never really noticed until just now. But he has huge hands.
That boy looks like his hand could be like a wrecking ball.
It's like when Thing would mutate, or
So when
when-
Harrison shows up strangled,
Yeah, it looks like I was strangled by 2 buses and a crane. That's how.
By the jaws of life.
Actually, it's because you talk to us more than you talk to Emily.
No. Like my extended family, like my parents, for instance, and my sisters. Yeah, I talk to you guys more than I talk to them. And that's something I realize now, and it's just, I don't like it. I don't like